In 2019, these were the photos I used for my dating apps. I was 20 years old, a college sophomore, and I got no results. Fast forward a few years, I've had thousands of matches and hundreds of dates across multiple cities and countries. How did I do it? It wasn't luck, it was leverage. I optimized everything. My appearance, my photos, my texting, and my behavior on dates. I even got plastic surgery. And over the last 6 years, I basically used every major dating app on the market. So in this video, I will review the main apps I actually used. And at the end, I will give you my top picks for which dating apps are best for casual dating, for travel, and because I'm Asian, which apps are best for an Asian guy. In the end, dating apps are just about bringing together people that are compatible. All dating apps really differ on is their adoption, their audience, and their features. Everything else is just marketing. Now let's get started with Tinder, the most popular app and the one with the largest user base. In terms of the pros of Tinder, it has a very large user base, so that really helps with dating because dating is mainly a numbers game. The other great thing that Tinder does that most other apps do not do is that they have unlimited swipes. This allows you to swipe as much as you want. It really expands your reach. It's also good for casual dating because that's what Tinder is known for. As a matter of fact, all my Tinder dates were open to something casual. Now, in terms of the cons, because Tinder has such a large user base and because people have unlimited swipes, I noticed that my matches tend to be a lot more flaky than they are from other apps because it's just so easy to match with someone and you just have so many options on the apps. Tinder also doesn't have much filters, and even if you pay for them, you don't get much more. And if you're someone who's looking for something more long-term, Tinder may not be the best fit because it is geared towards more casual seeking users. That's not to say there's no long-term users on Tinder, but if you are looking for something more serious, Tinder probably shouldn't be your first choice. Next is Bumble, where women message first, and that changes the dynamic completely. In terms of the pros, it has a large user base, but the main differentiating factor is the fact that Bumble is known for women messaging first. That takes more effort than just a simple swipe on Tinder or on many other apps. Hence, it is a good filter for at least a minimal level of interest. This makes it great for traveling because when you're traveling, usually you're only in a city for a few days. So you really want to make sure the matches and the dates that you planned do count. Because of this feature, Bumble dates tend to be less flaky and they tend to follow through more reliably. Now, in terms of the cons, unlike Tinder, Bumble does have limited likes unless you pay for premium. And there's also some friction caused by the women messaging first feature because women only have 24 hours to message you. And if they don't message you within that time frame, that match disappears. Because of this feature, you cannot message a woman first. But the upside of that is that whoever is replying to you or sending you a first message is an active and likely interested user. Granted, most of the time women just say hi in their first message, but a hi is better than nothing. Now, Bumble did recently implement a feature which allows women to put up a opening move or opening question, meaning they don't have to message first. I don't really like that feature because what's the point then? But some women use it, some women don't. And if a woman has opening moves on and she still messages you first, that is a very good sign. Next, we have Hinge. Now, Hinge is a platform that instead of just swiping on someone, you need to like a specific part of their profile, either a photo or a prompt, and you can comment on it as well. Because of that, likes and matches require more effort. And because they require more effort, it is more likely that when you do match and when you do start chatting, that the interaction is more intentional. Hinge also has a pretty large user base, mainly based in the US, and Hinge is phenomenal for its filters. You can filter by height and ethnicity, and that is just built into the free version. This allows people that are interested in particular ethnicities to see more of the people that they're interested in. Like I mentioned earlier, dating apps are just about bringing together people that are compatible, and having a filter is crucial for that. Hinge is the only one that not only offers it for free, but does it pretty well. Now, in terms of the cons, your likes are pretty limited, and it's also not as popular outside of the US, at least for the countries I've tried using Hinge in. Then we have OkCupid, which leans into compatibility and values-based questions, and they display your compatibility rate with people based on their values and what you prioritize. The pros here is that compatibility and values and personality matching is a very cool concept. Dating apps are all about compatibility, so this, in theory, should be a goldmine. However, the issue is that you need to answer a lot of questions for this to be worthwhile. In practice, most people don't answer most of these questions, or they don't answer them entirely honestly, so that really defeats the purpose of this. Now, in terms of the cons, like many of the other apps, there are very limited likes, and in order to get more likes, you need to pay for premium, and premium also seems to be unusually expensive on OkCupid. It's just not worth it for the value that it brings. OkCupid also seems to have a pretty small user base, at least a small active user base. Typically, I would match with someone and I would send them a message, and then they might not reply to me for a few weeks. So there's never any sort of momentum when I'm using OkCupid. Next is Coffee Meets Bagel, a slower paced and more intentional feeling platform. The pros here is that the matches are more intentional. On a daily basis, the app gives you a limited list of people that you could match with, and you have to pick from that list. This could be a great thing because it limits your options, it allows you to be more selective and more intentional. But on the flip side, it is not ideal because, like I mentioned before, dating is a numbers game, and this does not allow you to play that numbers game. It's forcing you into picking from these options, which you may not necessarily like, and there's nothing stopping you from using other apps. It's not like you can only use one app. The number of users is just pretty limited. I've noticed that after just using it for a week or so, I pretty much ran through all the profiles that I'm interested in the area, and it started showing me profiles that are 20, 30, 40 miles away, which is just not practical. Now let's look at Tantan, which is basically Chinese Tinder, but with a few differences. The first pro is that there is a huge user base in Asia, especially in China and in Chinese-speaking countries. And because of that, it's very useful when you're traveling in Mandarin-speaking areas like China, Taiwan, Hong Kong. Now, in terms of the cons, what I've noticed when I'm using Tantan is that there tends to be location issues. Sometimes it would show me or match me with users that are really far away. So the user base is likely concentrated in areas with a large Chinese-speaking population. As you know, Chinese girls love their filters, so there is a lot of room for catfishing. There also seems to be a lot of fake profiles and bots on these apps, and these bots also use the same filters or the same fake looking pictures as real girls. You're just not sure who you're matching with. When it comes to dating apps, you want to make sure your experience is as frictionless as possible, so that is a huge con for me. And that's why I don't really use Tantan as much. Switching gears now, we have Facebook Dating, which is built right into the Facebook app. The main pros of Facebook Dating is that there are unique features such as Secret Crush, where you could say you have a secret crush on someone that's on your friends list. There's also a Friends of Friends feature, which allows you to match with friends of friends. However, the cons that I've noticed while using Facebook Dating is that most of the users are just really far away. It is very inconsistent in the users that it's showing you. Most of the time, I'm showing someone who's 1,000 miles or 800 miles away, and that's of no use to me. Very rarely do I get local matches. The other thing is that because it's built into the Facebook app, it doesn't really seem like a standalone dating app. Most people go on Facebook to message their friends. They're not going on Facebook to check their app. I would use it for maybe 20 minutes and then come back after a month, and a lot of my messages or my matches already basically expired by then. Finally, we have Yuzu, which is another match group app. The main pro of this app is that it has Asian targeted branding. Recently, they've gotten a little better at this, but when Yuzu first came out, most of the users were really far away from each other. However, adoption is still relatively low. The other con here is that Yuzu mixes intentions. They allow people to match across intentions. There's a social mode and there's a dating mode, and they allow you to match with people even if you originally wanted to match with them for social reasons. And that's not ideal on a dating app where things are already ambiguous and vague by default. And finally, there's East Meets East, which is an Asian-focused app that has a pricing model that holds it back. Now, this app had good intentions starting out. It was supposed to be for Asians. However, its pricing model is completely predatory. As a guy, in order to even message a girl, you need to pay a subscription fee, which completely doesn't make sense. That's why no one really uses it. And because no one uses it, it's basically pointless as a dating app. All right, and with that out of the way, here are my top picks. And right after this, I will show you the exact photos I used between 2023 and 2025, so you get a sense of the profile that I was working with during that time. So to start, let's go over my top picks for casual dating. The best one by far, unsurprisingly, is Tinder. Pretty much every single date that I got from Tinder was casual. So if you're looking for something casual, Tinder is a way to go. The runner-ups for this category would be Bumble and Hinge, just purely based on volume, because on any app, there is a percentage of people that will be looking for something casual. And just by having a large user base makes it more likely that you will meet those people while using those apps. The other app I'll mention here that can be decent is Tantan, but only if you're located in a Chinese-speaking area. Now, casual is one thing, but when you're traveling, your priorities shift. Filters and logistics matter a lot more. My top pick for travel is Bumble. The way Bumble is set up is ideal for screening. When you're traveling, you're usually spending a limited amount of time in a certain city. If you're only spending 3 nights on a city, you don't want to waste that to a flake. As for the runner-up, I would have to pick Tinder, just based off how it's the most popular dating app by far. So as a result, if you're traveling and you want to use a dating app that has a reliable user base, regardless of the country, Tinder is a good option for that. There are some other apps that are also decent for travel, such as Hinge. I've noticed though that when I'm using Hinge while traveling, I tend to match with other travelers and not much locals. That's likely because Hinge isn't as popular abroad as it is in the US. So if you are traveling outside of the US, Hinge will allow you to more readily match with other travelers. The other app I'll add here is Tantan, but only if you're traveling to a Chinese-speaking city. So the takeaway here is that when you're traveling, it's all about logistics. You need an app that reduces friction fast and increases your odds. That covers travel. But if you're an Asian guy or any other minority, the dynamics shift again. Now it's about filtering. You can't just rely on volume alone. As a result, my topic here is Hinge because its base free version allows you to filter by ethnicity. So if you're a minority, it allows you to get seen by the people that are interested in you. Now the crucial factor here is that it is a free feature included in the base version of the app because most women don't pay for dating app subscriptions. And this is a game changer because ideally you only want to be shown to and you only want to see people that are also interested in dating you. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. Now, in terms of the runner-ups for this category, Bumble is a great app to use if you're traveling. Another runner-up would be Coffee Meets Bagel because of its relatively large Asian user base in the US. In terms of apps that can be usable or decent for this, I would have to say Tantan or Yuzu because they are geared and marketed towards Asians. Other apps would be Tinder and Facebook dating just because of the sheer size of the user base. So the takeaway here is that if you're an average Asian guy using dating apps, filters aren't optional, they're essential. Now, as promised, these were the photos that I used for my dating apps between 2023 and 2025. I used various combinations of these photos across different apps and over time, but this is the general baseline that I was working with. So the pattern here is simple. The best app is the app that has the largest user base in your area and ideally has people that you're interested in and also people that are interested in you. Your attractiveness doesn't change across apps, but a total amount of people that you could potentially match with does. And that's why throughout my reviews, it is generally a pro for dating apps to have a large user base. The larger the user base, the better. Volume drives the top of your funnel. Filters refine it, and everything else is preference. And after using dating apps for several years, here's my honest take. Outside of specific niches or certain regions, the smaller apps just don't compete. You will get 90% of your results just from using the top 3 apps, Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge. Everything else is optional or location dependent. Now, if you want a full breakdown of how I transform my dating app results, including how I changed my looks and my mindset, here's the video linked right here. Let me know what you want me to cover next, and I'll see you in the next one.